Okay, I think we'll start. Welcome everyone. My name is Selina Whitehead and I am an Education Team Manager at Amazing People Schools, and we're absolutely thrilled and delighted that you found time to join us this afternoon for our first webinar, where I'm hoping to show you how we can embed character and support wellbeing for our students, whether that's at home, in school, or a little bit of both. So thank you very much for joining us. The first question that I just would like to pose to you, and maybe you could use your chat function, is just, if I was to say to you, who do you think's amazing? Who inspires you? It might be somebody famous, might be somebody personal that the rest of us don't know. But could you just put a few names in the chat function for us, just so that we can get a little bit of a feel about who do you find is amazing? Excellent. Michelle's daughters inspires that. Good. Thank you. So this is quite a nice activity to do with your class, to ask them who do they think's amazing. And quite often the students start off with a footballer, a pop star, you know, a celebrity that we may or may not have heard of. But quite often it can also bring out some really interesting people. So, for example, we've got lots and lots of personal examples there as well. I remember one Year 7 boy telling us about his older brother who'd been involved in a motorbike accident and was told that he wouldn't walk again. And he had the whole class gripped about his brother's perseverance and his resilience, bouncing back from all the physio and the difficulties, and his motivation to keep on going through the difficulties and to gain a high degree of mobility again. So everybody was just amazed. So it can be a really, really nice starter exercise. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you. We shared something this afternoon which really asked you what you think makes someone amazing. What you think makes someone amazing. So I'm hoping that you can see that. There are some details at the top. If it's pretty instant, it goes up pretty immediately. So if you want to add to this, then do. But again, it's a nice way of starting off the conversation about character strengths, so that you can be thinking, you can be asking your students, well, what is it? What is it about your best friend that makes them amazing? What is it about Stormzy that you think is amazing? What is it about Billie Eilish that you think is wonderful? And starting to get the language of character really embedded into the conversation. So these were some of the ideas that you came up with earlier today. So thank you very much for sharing that. I'm going to move on now to our site. Some of you will have received your own personal login details. So if you want to log in yourself, do. But if you want to just follow on the screen, then that's fine. If any of you didn't get details, then please do contact us afterwards, and we can send you your unique details. So sorry, I don't want to sign in immediately at all. Beg your pardon. So we tell the stories of amazing people from history in order to explore the character strengths that can help students flourish and thrive. Our founder, Charles Majerison, started writing first-person stories about 20 years ago. He did an imaginary interview with William Shakespeare, and he sort of imagined what he would have thought, or how he would have felt. And these are on sale now with Collins. And over the years, we've moved into schools, and we've very much deepened our links with character education. So we launched formally in BET 2019, and we've gone on to achieve 5 stars in the Teach Secondary Award for Health and Wellbeing. And we're absolutely thrilled just before Christmas to receive the Association of Character Education Kite Mark as a company of character. And all of our stories and resources on the site are designed to provide the skills and character strengths that young people need to thrive. And as I've said already, and we'll kind of keep coming back to over this webinar, it's about introducing the language of character and working on nurturing those positive character strengths through the school day. So one of our teachers here from Homely High, she encouraged the students to look at individuals, that they researched the individual amazing person. Then she got them to think about 5 different things that they thought was amazing about this person. Then they took those individual strengths, and at the end of the week they said, well, I think my friend did great because she was really kind when she did this for me. So just really, really lovely, lovely feedback from her. We also believe very strongly at Amazing People Schools that developing certain character strengths, optimism, gratitude, perseverance, resilience, developing these can support student well-being. Challenging situations such as the one that we're in right now and have been in for a long time requires adaptability, requires creativity and initiative, which we all inherently possess, but we very much believe that it can be encouraged and taught. So character education can encourage this positive attitude, not only to learning, but also to other areas. Quite often we're asked why we don't have such and such a character on the website. And the reason for that is that our stories are told in the first person. And so we don't really feel it's appropriate for somebody who's still living or very recently died to tell their story in the first person. However, on our homepage, we do very often have people who are very much alive or who've recently passed. So if you've got any ideas for people that your students find inspirational, let us know and we'll try and fit them into the front page. So I'm going to log in. So when your students log in, they can all have their own unique login details. And when they log in, they don't get to see all the teaching resources. They just see the amazing people. So that's where I'm going to start. On the student site, having their own access to it can really works brilliantly for blended learning, but it also encourages their independent learning. They can be given a character and they can explore that character themselves. We very much believe that if you can't see it, you can't be it if you can't see it. And our stories of diverse historical game changers and our wide-ranging resources, which I'll come on to, are really designed to support students in that learning and to put those character strengths into action. So we have a wide range of characters. We have amazing Black Lives, Mary Seacole, Abebe Bikila, Harriet Tubman. We have quite a global collection, including Wang Zhenyi from China, Simon Bolivar from Latin America, Zumbi dos Palmares. We also have people with disabilities, either through accident or from birth, Frida Kahlo, Helen Keller, Thomas Edison. We have people with different sexual orientations, Alan Turing, Frida Kahlo, Leonardo da Vinci. We also have people with different privileges, be it white privilege or born into economic privilege as well. So there's really quite a wide range of people. I'm just going to focus on Martin Luther King. So students can watch a short video, or you could use it as a starter to your lesson. Videos are usually less than 5 minutes, or you can do it as a flipped learning to a class as well, to say homework is to watch the video. We have an audio version of the story for those that might find the written version more challenging, and we have a timeline. For everybody, we also have some 5 key dates as well, and that's just to really orient the students into when in history we're talking about what else was going on during that time. We have a written story, and then when the students have explored the character thoroughly, they have a quiz, and they need to get 5 out of 5 on the quiz to unlock an amazing person fact card and also a wardrobe item. If they don't get 5 out of 5, it's not a problem. They just go back and read the story again and can take the quiz as many times as they would like to. In the top right hand corner, we have our little avatar. Now, if I was logging in as a student, I would also have a sentence here which says, who do you think's amazing? And that can be adapted and built on as they go through the site, and that they learn more about character and they think more about amazing people. But again, as I was saying earlier, it's a really nice way of building up a thought process about who is amazing and what is it that makes them amazing. This is my little avatar, so I can change the colour of them. And because I got 5 out of 5 in lots of quizzes, then I will unlocked a lot of these wardrobe items. So I can have Amy Johnson's glasses. I'm currently wearing Chanel little black dress. So I can decorate my avatar as I want. And many of the students are very motivated by that. So along the top, we also have our collection of videos as well, which, as I say, can be really useful as starter exercises or for students to watch at home. So I'm going to take you to the search function. So the stories that we have and the supporting activities really offer a practical approach to character development. And as I say, they're available online, so they can be used independently or with teacher aides in school or for home learning. So you could search for a particular character. So if you were looking for Gandhi, you could type in Gandhi and you would get to his stories, and you could also see the resources that we have attached to him. The 10-minute lessons are small periods of time. In high school, they would probably be used in form time, in tutor time. In secondary school, I beg your pardon, would be used in form time or tutor time. 10 minutes in primary school, maybe just before you go to lunch or at the end of the day, when you need that little time just to break away from the topic that you're on to think about something else. And these 10-minute lessons, you can search for all 10-minute lessons. If I just show you that, then you have then you have those. I'm not quite sure why Empathy did that, but you can look for those, and you can look for different results, and you can see the character strength that we have and the amazing person that we have. Our additional
Hi, Selena.
Yes.
Hi, we just had a question come in
Sure.
about searching by other categories, such as their sphere of influence. So you mentioned some subjects there. Might be worth just going over those.
Yeah. Was there any example, or just what shall I put in?
So sport, for example, someone has suggested.
So our search function, yeah, so it won't quite work with that. We do have various subjects. So if you were looking for somebody who was linked to music, for example, then you could look by subject and you would get our musicians. Let me search by this, and then I'll come back to it, and we'll go through it in terms of those subjects. The additional activities that we have, the character strengths definition chart can be a really useful tool for you to print out in class. Again, just to make sure that the language of character is embedded and really understood among your students. So we have a black and white version if that's easier for you to print, but it can be really important that it's really understood what we mean by the words. What do we mean by integrity, and what do we mean by enthusiasm? So when those definitions are clearer, when you're running your 10-minute lessons on empathy, people are very clear about what that means, and we can then look to see how we develop it in school and in our lives. So that's a useful chart to have. Our Global Black Achievers Award was something that we did just around the time of Black History Month and after the Black Lives Matter protests last year. And it really looks at a variety, not all of our amazing Black people, but of some of them. And it looks at some of the character strengths that we can use to think about racism and to think about the Black Lives Matter. So, for example, we can think about fairness in the context of race. So we can think about looking at terms such as anti-racism, ally, privilege, activism. And we can read the stories and pick out stories. If we read Harriet Tubman's story, we can say, well, who acted as an ally in her story, for example. So we have a variety of characters here that the students can learn about, but we also have different character strengths that we can develop within this context. If you're very new to character, then this introduction to character lesson can be a really good starting place, and it really encourages the students to think about what we mean by the words, and then to think about, well, who do we think is amazing of our friends? Okay, what is it that makes them amazing? And then to be building on those, to be thinking about their own character strengths. So that it can be a very useful lesson plan to use. Our Amazing Teacher Toolkit is on the website in our resource bank, and it's basically packed full of character education ideas, and we've split it up here into discussion ideas and activities and reflections. So lots and lots of different ways that you can teach character. We have a series of assemblies, and our assemblies all involve an amazing person. They involve an amazing person, and they then look to how we use that in school. So we might look at courage through the life of Amy Johnson, and then we will think about. I realise I'm going slightly fast, but I just want to show you what happens. We then go on to being able to adapt it for your own school use. So there's some information on Amy Johnson and courage, and how she showed courage. And then you could either get rid of this slide or you could use it, but then there's some questions about how do we demonstrate courage in school, and what does that mean for us in school. If you like any of these resources and you think, yeah, I'm going to use this, you can add it to the My Resources section. So if I don't have anything in there that quite fits, then I could just say I'm going to make a section called Assemblies. And I'm going to add Amy Johnson's assembly to that, and my resources are up on the left hand screen there, so that's where the assembly will be. Our Learning Launchpads are a recent addition to the site, and they're based on each individual amazing person, and they can be extremely useful for students working from home who want to extend their learning. And the idea of the Learning Launchpads is that they take the learning in a whole different directions. So there's about 8 questions. And they can range from, this is Albert Einstein's, so they can range from potentially everyone's a little bit different, but the Albert Einstein one, the earlier questions, you can just map on a chart all the different places that he visited and where he lived. It can also be a spur to look at other amazing people within our website and sometimes beyond the website. But we also go on to some science questions which you could use, and we also go on to thinking about nuclear weapons and different activities. So they really vary and they get progressively harder, but they're really there as extra ideas for your students to use. So the Learning Launchpads can be very useful in that respect. We also have full lessons. So you can choose a full lesson on, for example, optimism, and we have optimism with Amy Johnson, optimism with Martin Luther King. And these are full lessons, very, very useful for topic time in primary school or for PSHE personal development classes in secondary school. We also have a set of wellbeing workouts. And these can vary from individual character strengths. So, for example, a character strength on adaptability, and we have a variety of characters. Ludwig van Beethoven, Bebe Bikila, Sajid Wang Zhenyi, how they demonstrated adaptability. But we also have then various activities. These are very ideal for lockdown because they allow families to support children. They're fun activities to be thinking about doing at home, and they very much contribute towards well-being. So it's very much a way in to be saying, look, we need to be flexible at the moment. Things keep changing, and we need to keep adaptable. And these wellbeing workouts can very much be a practical way of how we can do that. We also have wellbeing workouts which are based on individuals. So we have one on Bevan, for example, and different character strengths that he demonstrated. So collaboration, fairness, motivation, creativity, and again a series of fun activities about how how we can develop those character strengths for ourselves. And again, thinking about, well, how does this support my well-being? Well, we do feel better if we are creative, if we add creativity to our lives through music or art. We do feel better. So those the wellbeing workouts can be very useful. So as I say, it's what I would suggest to say with the search function is that it's that I would try it and see whether what you can get. If we put in disabilities, let's see whether we can get something that comes up. Ooh. No, there will be certain things that come up, and there will be certain things that won't come up. But it's a good point, and we will raise it for our 2021 website development. So you can search through different character strengths, and you can search through different subjects. So you can tick these boxes sort of as you need to get the results up that are helpful to you. The other thing that I just want to show you is our resource bank. So we have documents in here about how Amazing People Schools supports all of the curriculum. So that's in England, Scotland and Wales. We also are in Australia. And if you're calling in from another country, I know we had some interest from Latvia, please do get in touch, because we would be delighted to work with you, whichever country you're in, to see how we can support your curriculum. I mentioned the toolkit earlier on. We also have number 6 is the Amazing People summary, and this can be exceptionally helpful if you don't know all the characters. I didn't know all the characters before I started working on the programme. But it can be really useful to find out, well, who was Queen Nzinga, who was Sasajawea? So that can be really useful for you. We also have a document possibly for the more able students, or possibly for the older students, which is the Achievements and Controversy document. And it's really about, none of our amazing people were saints. We focus on where they have demonstrated their character strengths, but of course, all of us are flawed human beings, and there are interesting areas for discussion and debate on some of the areas of controversy within our amazing people. We also have a document here, number 9, on how to write an amazing person story. So it might be that your class is really inspired by the site, but they want to do a living person. Maybe they want to do Marcus Rashford. Maybe they want to do somebody within their community. And this provides the scaffolding for them to be able to build and to write that story. Lots of the activities on the site really encourage reading and writing, but they also encourage oracy. They also encourage debate and speaking. And we have a whole variety of activities across our resources that encourage students to get involved in interviewing an amazing person and being the interviewer and the interviewee, creating speeches, creating debates, and creating different scenarios where they can practice speaking and their speaking skills in a variety of situations. We also run oracy workshops, so if anybody's interested in pursuing that side of things, please do get in touch with us. We found that a lot of schools are very interested in the transition period from primary school to high school, and really looking at the introduction to character lesson and our transition document as a means of supporting students who are looking back on their primary school life and thinking about the character strengths that they've developed, and then looking ahead and thinking about the character strengths that they feel they need to develop as they go through primary school. It's an ongoing journey for all of us, but this document can be very useful to help focus them on that. Number 12, possibly the most important document, is the answers to the quiz, which can be exceptionally useful to have at your side if you're in the quiz and somebody comes running to you that you can have a look at. We also have some character strength badges, and these can be very useful to print out and to have around the classroom, depending on the subjects that you're looking at. So I think that's the main areas in the resource bank. And yeah, okay, so I'll go back to here. So all of our stories and resources are helping us embed the language of character across the school day and into home life. And the benefits of this is that students can articulate not only their frustrations, but which character strengths they need to move them forward. So by embedding that language of character, it becomes second nature to be able to sort of say, you know, I've had a setback. Am I going to persevere and continue on exactly the same path, or am I going to show adaptability and find a different way to moving forward? So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and come back to you. We have free trials available to all schools who would like to take advantage of that. And if you have any questions, I don't know whether Catherine's been receiving any questions in, but I'm very happy to try and answer some questions now.
Hello. Okay, we've got a question here from Andy about how the pricing works for schools.
Sure. What I would suggest, Andy, is that you send us an email. We have a special offer on at the moment of £1 a student. But what I would suggest is that you contact us, because there are different prices for trusts, for example, if there are a cluster of schools. So send us an email. Maybe Catherine, you could just type in an email address into the search function that myself or Franz and people could contact us with specific details about how many students and the details of your setup, and I'll be happy to get you set up. The £1 a student is for a year, so it would run right from now until Christmas 2021.
I had a question just that came up to me as I was thinking through your presentation, Selena, which was you were showing some assemblies and lesson plans. Is that in the student view of the site as well, or is that just the teachers?
No, so the students just get access to the amazing people, and they can look at the amazing people either directed by you as a teacher to be, say, go and find Charles Darwin and research him, and maybe giving them some questions to do that, or you can say just go and explore, and they can choose any ones that they want. But no, the resources that you saw are all just within the teacher's site.
Okay, thank you. Margaret Mary has asked whether the student logins might be one per class, as she finds that easier for the children to use remotely.
Entirely your choice. The disadvantage of doing one per class is that when they're doing the quiz, if the person before them has already got all the answers to the quiz, they won't unlock the card. So it very much depends on how you're going to use the site. We've really had such a variety of different ways that different schools are using it. Sometimes schools are doing it entirely teacher-led, and the students don't use an account. Sometimes schools have been doing it, as you say, just as a class, but you do need to realise the downside of that is, as I say, they don't really get to decorate their avatar, and they don't get the excitement of unlocking their amazing person fact card. So there's pros and cons, but it's entirely up to you.
And just to add to that point as well, Selena, we have found that some people have used a very simple structure for usernames and passwords. It doesn't, you don't have to have a very complicated long password. So for students, if they just have student 1, student 2, and you can keep it anonymous that way as well if you need to.
You could also use an existing password from another online provider. So if you're using another system, you know, Night Zookeeper, Mathletics, and any of the other online programs, if you've already got those list of passwords, you could use those. So, but as you say, either way, we try and make it as simple as possible for you to set that up.
Thank you. So Carol has a question about how long the free trial will last.
Well, we're trying to be as generous as we possibly can be. We're a tiny company, and at some point we do need people to subscribe, otherwise we can't continue doing what we're doing. If you were to sign up today, the free trial would last until half term, February half term. We really would like to give schools the opportunity to thoroughly explore the site. So the main thing that I would say to you is just get in touch with us, just ask us, just explain your situation, and let's just have that discussion. But usually it's about half a term.
And Michelle's got a question about which amazing people stories will feature next. You mentioned you'll be adding new people.
Okay. Yeah, okay, well, secret information, but about to be released. So we have Rachel Carson, the American conservationist, who's going to be released soon. We also have Sojourner Truth, who's the American civil rights woman, amazing woman. She was the first Black woman to take a white man to court for taking away her child. So really incredible story. We also have Sachira Honda, the founder of Honda, and there's plenty more coming. There's lots of really interesting, amazing people coming. And if you have any suggestions, we're always open. So please do let us know your ideas.
Right. So Carol just followed up saying that's good because she just wanted to make sure that her free trial access hasn't already subscribed, already expired.
No, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, no, definitely not, definitely not. As I say, we are really trying. We've bent over backwards to be as flexible as we possibly can during lockdown. We really are wanting to support schools. I say at some point we do have to ask people to subscribe because we can't survive otherwise, but we are absolutely doing our level best to support you through these incredible times that we're living through.
Oh, good. Carol says it looks amazing, so that's good to hear.
So much, Carol. Thank you.
Just again on that demo, I may have missed this, but did you show the fact that the stories are available as video and audio? Well, some of videos and all the audios.
We did touch on it, yeah. I'll just return to the to that screen. Can you see that? Am I back on? Am I back on? Yeah. So within the amazing people site, if we go into Queen and Zinger, so she has a video that you can watch. They're also available on our YouTube channel, Amazing People Schools. We have an audio version, which I'm not going to press because it automatically starts, but we have an audio version of her story. We have a timeline. We have the key dates, the written story. Usually with some glossary words in to extend vocabulary, and then we have the quiz.
Lovely, thank you. Oh, there's a couple more questions come in, Selena. This is from Andy. Which subject teachers usually want the programme?
Oh, do you know what? It's been absolutely fascinating for us. The discussions that we had before we launched, we had sort of this idea of who was going to do it. And then the schools and the teachers that have ended up signing up have just been so different. I'm not just saying that. So we've had several primary schools who signed up. We've had some who've been using it for their year 5-6 classes, and some have gone on and adapted the resources throughout primary school. Within secondary school, we've had PSHE personal development teachers, which we expected, but we've also had history teachers, and we've also had teachers who are using some of the stories in science. So they've been using Marie Curie to start sort of thinking about and to inspire a lot of girls in science. We've also had quite a lot of special schools who've got involved as well. So schools have been working with children with dyslexia, with autism. We've got state schools, we've got independent schools, so it's really been very broad. And actually, some of the plans, which I can't quite release on this webinar, but some of the plans that we've got for 2021 are very much about trying to really increase that access across the different subjects at high school, and across the so that every teacher can use it in some way.
Great. There's another question I'll come on to in a minute, but there's a few comments coming through. So Margaret Mary said within primary school, it's enhanced learning in HWB, RME and social studies, and that the children absolutely love it. And Michelle's also said different sessions, but she's even used it in forest school as an introduction, which is really nice.
Yeah.
And Miss Connor says they look very cross-curricular. Sue says the primary school children loved it and they found that the avatar was a great motivator. Margaret Mary again, also been a great starting point for young STEM leaders.
Absolutely.
So yeah, various different ways. So back to this question, which I'll read out as it's written. Has there been any research conducted with schools who have used the resources in terms of impact on pupils' use of character language?
Oh, wow, that's such a brilliant question. Well, let's put it this way. We had lots of plans to do lots of research in schools for exactly that question. And unfortunately, we've been a little bit stymied by COVID. So what I can say is that during the pilot that we ran, yes, we did see the impact. And we saw very clearly that behaviour in schools improved, where we were a very key factor. The school very much felt that we were a key factor in the changes in behaviour. And this is a high school, this is quite a challenging high school that we worked with near Croydon. And that school very much felt that by thinking about character, students were very much able to articulate, a bit like I was saying earlier, they're very much able to articulate the issue and how they were feeling and what they were going to do about it, and using that good sense, using that that practical good sense into sort of, what are my choices here? What which path am I going to do? We haven't been able to pursue any further than that, because what we want to do is to go into schools and to really be able to do that. But rest assured, it is very much in our minds as a focus for 2021.
And there's an example there from Michelle, who has been using the resources in the classroom. She said they consolidate the language of character and allow the teachers and students to articulate in a joined up way.
Yeah.
So yeah, some incidental evidence, but I don't think we've had the opportunity to do a systematic.
I think that's right. I think what's also helped as well is by introducing the language of character, so that it's not just in an assembly, but it's also in a form time, and it's also in a lesson. So the beginning of a lesson is, we're doing this, I'm looking for you to show initiative, and it might go wrong, so I'm looking for you to persevere and to show resilience. And when you're talking to students, to be telling them very specifically in terms of their character strength, I thought that was a really kind gesture when you looked out for that person who wasn't, who was looking unhappy. And I really noticed the kindness that you demonstrated there. And when you're talking to parents, I think that's really useful as well, is that on Parents' Evening or in letters, emails going out, is to actually be again reinforcing this language of character. So that you can say, for example, we really recognise the courage that your child has by sticking their hand up in class, because I know they're shy and I know they find that really challenging, but she did put her hand up, and we recognise her courage in that respect. So I think the more ways that we can think of to embed that language, everybody begins to start using it, and it really enables the students to have it, within them. It just becomes a natural part of their vocabulary.
Right, and there's a comment here as well from DB Grant saying it was great for careers as well, teaching young people about amazing figures and thinking about individual behaviour.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. That's a really good point. And actually, what part of one of the new resources that we're looking at developing this year is something exactly along those lines for high school. So if you're thinking about careers and GCSE and A-level choices as well, thinking about character in terms of those really important choices that those students need to make. So watch this space. There's more coming in that direction.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to say to everyone that we are recording this, so I think some people joined a little bit after the beginning. So if you either want to watch it again or didn't catch it all, we will be able to send out a video shortly. And I think also some people who perhaps came on behalf of colleagues who couldn't come can also get copies of that. So that's great. I don't think we have any other questions at the moment, Selena. If anyone else has anything that they want to add, please do. But at the moment, I think we've answered everything.
Thank you. Well, thank you all so much for coming along. Please do email us your feedback and let us know. As I say, it's the first one that we've run publicly, so please do let us know how it was and what we could do differently and how we can improve upon it. If you don't have access and would like it, please do email us. Yeah, very much look forward to working with you all in the coming year. Thank you very much for coming.